Good day, everyone. We are from Group 2, and today we will be discussing about the history of computing, the Napier's bones and side rule. Here are the objectives of our discussion. First, explain the origin and purpose of Napier's bone and the side rule. Second, utilize how these tools were used to simplify mathematical calculations. And third, recognize their importance as early steps in the history of computing. So, I'll be proceeding to the history of computing. So, before we had the computers we use today, people had to rely on much simpler tools to do calculations. One of the very first tools was the abacus, which was mainly used for basic arithmetic. Later on, inventors came up with more advanced tools like Napier's bones and the slide rule. This made it easier to handle more complex math and were especially useful for scientific work. What's really interesting is that these tools didn't just make calculations faster, they actually laid the groundwork for modern computing. For example, ideas from these early devices eventually inspired more advanced inventions, like Charles Babbage's analytical engine. That was one of the first real steps towards the real idea of a programmable computer, which is much closer to what we use today. As you can see, here are the different types of computer. First, the abacus. Second, the Napier's bones, the slide rule, and lastly, the analytical engine.
For the introduction of Napier bones, si John Napier ang inventor ng Napier's bone at ginawa niya ito noong taong 1617. Ang layunin ng paggawa niya nito ay para mapadali at mas maging accurate ang result ng multiplication, division, and square root. Instead of memorizing long multiplication tables, gumagamit lang ng rods na may nakasulat na product ng bawat digit. Ang kadalasang gumagamit nito ay ang mga scientists at mathematicians noon bago pa naimbento ang modern calculators.
Meet the slide rule, your grandpa's calculator. Invented in the 1620s by William Oughtred, it was the ultimate math gadget for scientists and engineers. It was so fast and clever. People even call it the first analog computer. Pretty high-tech for its time.
For the purpose of Napier bones, ginawa ito para hindi na i-memorize ang buong multiplication table at ginagamit ang rods para makita agad ang partial products at basahin ito through diagonals. Malaking tulong ito sa mga scientists at mathematicians noong panahon ni John Napier para sa mabilis at tamang computation ng large numbers.
Long before calculators and computers, there was the slide rule, the ultimate math tool for solving complex problems. It handled multiplication, division, exponents, and even trigonometry with just a slide and a glance. This clever device became a must-have for engineers, architects, and scientists. In fact, NASA used it to design rockets and plan the legendary Apollo missions. No screens, no batteries, just smart design and sharp minds.
Now, for the use of Napier bones, we have 5 steps. First, pumili ng rods. Kunin yung rods na may numbers ng multicand. Second, hanapin ang row ng multiplier. Tignan yung row na may number ng multiplier. Third, basahin ang products. Makikita sa bawat rod yung product ng digit times multiplier. Fourth, gamitin ang diagonals. Ang numbers ay nakasulat sa kahon na hati sa gitna. Binabasa ito pa diagonal para malaman ang tamang place value. And lastly, add the diagonals. I-add lang yung mga numbers na magkakasama sa isang diagonal at lalabas ang final product.
So how did this thing work? Simple. You just slide the scales, line up the numbers, and boom! Instant answers. Well, after a bit of practice, of course. Back then, this was an engineer's best buddy until calculators came along and stole the spotlight. Before calculators, math nerds used Napier's bones, basically wooden sticks for multiplying and dividing. Imagine carrying those around. Today, we just whip out our phones, open the calculator app, and problem solve in seconds. So, the clunky wooden sticks to slick apps on our phones, that's quite the upgrade. But Napier's bones weren't the only clever tool from the past. Ready to see what engineers used before scientific calculators? Let's slide, literally, into the world of slide rule. Engineers once flexed their slide rules like a badge of honor. Now, we've got scientific calculators that can handle everything from the simple math to crazy equations, no sliding required.
As for fun facts, here's something so interesting. John Napier, the same guy who made Napier's bones, also invented logarithms. That discovery actually made the slide rule possible. Back in the day, engineers used to carry slide rules everywhere, kind of like how students today carry calculators. For them, it was even a symbol of skill, like showing off that you knew how to use it. Even though calculators replaced slide rules in the 1970s, some people still collect them today as a piece of history. To wrap it up, Napier's bones and the slide rule really changed how people thought about math during their time. They showed that creativity in mathematics could actually turn into powerful tools for solving real problems. These inventions also served as a bridge. They connected the old way of doing manual calculations to the modern computers we have now. So without them, we might not have reached computing as quickly as we did right now. That concludes our discussion for today. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day, everyone.
Sir, tapos na po.